Hello, I'm Lydia Talbot. Welcome to Sanctuary. Pakistan. Most Americans associate this South Asian nation with terrorism, drone strikes, and militancy. Ally, foe, trading partner? The historical relationship between the United States and Pakistan, both nuclear powers, is complicated. As in any international conflict, there is often a temptation to quickly demonize rather than patiently seek to understand people from cultures and religious traditions that differ from our own. For Chicagoans, Pakistan is more than a key player in shaping U.S. foreign policy. The Chicago area is a regional hub of Pakistani immigration and has the second largest South Asian population in the country. Pakistanis bring with them their culture, language, and faith. As diplomatic efforts continue, a group of key Pakistani and American religious leaders made a commitment to explore interfaith dialogue. They met in Islamabad and Lahore to cooperatively set an action agenda toward policy change on both sides, building bridges of understanding and respect between our two countries. Stay with us for their stories and testimonies from that gathering that will challenge what you think about your politics and your faith today on Sanctuary.
The US-Pakistan InterReligious Consortium is an initiative undertaken by Intersections that seeks to accomplish three things: to bring together religious leaders from the US and Pakistan, to build relationships interpersonally, to shatter stereotypes in terms of the misconceptions that exist in the media and elsewhere about our two countries, and to create an action agenda that will help us build bridges of mutual respect and understanding between our two countries. If we're going to have civil sector engagement between the US and Pakistan, we really can't do that without having a religious voice present. And so Intersections, whose mandate is to bring together people who differ and to forge common ground for justice, reconciliation, and peace, took it upon itself to establish the US-Pakistan InterReligious Consortium.
The theme of the conference was grassroots approaches to US-Pakistan relations. US-Pakistan relations are mostly discussed at the level of the diplomats and politicians and the policymakers. This is the first time that we had the opportunity of discussing this most timely, vital, and sensitive issue at the grassroots level.
There's a wonderful electricity about the conversations here. Electricity in the sense of charged potential. And I am very anxious to see how this potential will be released. How will it be discharged? What will it spark? And what will it energize?
I'm Dr. Noor Fatima. My expectation from this conference is to explore more about the people and the ideas of Pakistan and US relationship, as well as interfaith dialogue, and to know more about the American people, what they think about Pakistani people and the pluralism of the society of Pakistan.
When we work together, we are more likely to solve big issues than if we work separately or as adversaries. But the safe space for people who see the world differently and may have different views on how to achieve solutions to big problems, there is no safe space for them to come together, to talk, to build relationship, to build trust, to clarify their differences and surface where they might have more agreements than they perhaps believe before they met.
I was shocked and surprised at my own fears and prejudices, seeing many women in burqas really tightened a knot in my stomach, not because I was some kind of feminist or liberal, but it just seemed so alien. And so there's been a kind of an expansion and I say in the best sense, relaxation about relationships, and an affirmation that those relationships are fundamental before we get messed up with the belief systems and what we think is right and wrong and so on. Is that the test, I think, of all our faiths is how we are with each other, how we treat each other.
Interfaith dialogue is an essential piece of the whole puzzle in healing the fabric both of Pakistani society and of the relationship between Pakistan and the US. And that's what we're here to try to implement.
My name is Mumtaz Ahmed. It is only at the level of the grassroots that the people come to know each other more closely. They develop their personal relationships, and through these personal relationships, we can expect that some of the misunderstandings that exist will be removed eventually.
My name is Dr. Amineh Ahmad Houthi. I've been doing interfaith work for the last decade and more. There's a lot of negative about the other. Whether it's in America, there's sort of negative perceptions of the other. Here in Pakistan and Islam, Muslims. In Pakistan, there's a lot of suspicion of the other, in particular Americans. The other is so much more alien when we don't know them. But once we begin to read and discover and also befriend, I think personal encounter is very important. Because once we begin to have friends across boundaries, then we learn to connect, we learn to make friends, and we learn to see that the other's not that bad. There's a lot of richness in our world. And that's what I think God wants us to do. His vision is to connect. His vision is for us to be friends, join hands, and do positive work together. And I hope that will happen. Thank you.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
I'm Jackie Lewis, and I'm in Pakistan because Intersections invited me to be a part of a delegation called the United States-Pakistan InterReligious Consortium, and we're here to improve relations between U.S. and Pakistan. I think we can improve relations between U.S. and Pakistan. One relationship at a time. We can reduce suspicion, we can increase trust, we can find out that we have more in common than we think. So I'm hopeful about that.
It's shaped like desert Badanian. Can you there? Who is in Arabic country? Khayma. Tent. It's a tent.
Tent. Yeah. Okay, so this is a tent.
Yes.
I experienced that at the mosque. These guys are so proud of this mosque. I say guys because they were guys showing us the mosque. But they're so proud. They're so proud of the light fixture. They're so proud of the bulbs. They're so proud of the way it stands up without help. They're so proud of the way it is a tent, like a Bedouin tent, that it evokes their history and their story and their relationship to Allah. They're so proud of it. If you just really listen, you get a kind of awe at the holy. I don't know why that catches me up, but it's kind of like, you know, God is, for them, huge, holy. They're in awe of God, and they're in awe of this homage to God and this space for God, and that people can encounter God. And I think today, as I thought last year, if everybody in America could go on a tour of a mosque in one of these regions with the people in the region, they would have a big heart change. Because they're in awe of God, like we're in awe of God. What can you say about that? Except that's a stunning thing.
My name is Sarah Saeed, and I work at an interfaith organization in New York City, and I've been active in interfaith work for over 15 years now. One of my concerns is how the United States sees the global Muslim community and what my role is as a Muslim American in that dialogue that my country, the United States of America, is having with Muslims around the world. I'm here in Pakistan with Intersections International, which has partnered with the International Islamic University as well as alums to put together a consortium of USPakistani leaders, interfaith leaders, to have a conversation to help us break down stereotypes and build understanding and come up with an action plan for what we can do in the next couple of years together to create mutual trust and build peace between our people. I think I was pleasantly surprised when we met with the young women from the Critical Thinking Forum. They were so eloquent and so intelligent and so thoughtful and so honest in their criticisms and concern about U.S. foreign policy and America and Americans in general. And it was so refreshing to see a group of very diverse women with diverse religious expression and identities kind of being so thoughtful and articulate in their opinions. And I think that was a great way for me, is really in that it's not so much in that people have these opinions, but how do we make Americans hear these opinions, listen to these opinions, and take them seriously? Because I think that Americans might have this idea of like, just get over it already. Like, you care too much about what people say about the Prophet, or you care too much about, the burning of the Quran. Just stop being so worried about freedom of speech, like these kinds of things. But I think we have to find a way to get Americans to hear and really listen to what people are saying about the United States and how they view the United States, but perhaps more importantly, how they think the United States views them. Militant is violent, they see us as less valuable than other kind of countries. And so I think the concern is really about how America sees us and, sees us as Pakistanis. And like, I think they really want to be heard. So I hope we can convey their message to Americans.
I am Professor Sarfaraz Hussain from Edwards College, Peshawar. We have been doing these interfaith programs at college. Suddenly I was called to this conference. That was like a happy day. And I rushed towards this conference. And yesterday was my first day. And I just kept silent, listening to people, and I learned a lot. The interfaith thing can be done. And now I have the courage, because this thing is being carried out throughout the world. So now I'm satisfied the people are on my back. I'm not alone. The main misconception is that the American consider Pakistanis or the Muslims as terrorists, while Pakistani consider Americans as terrorists. And that has created a big gap between them. Pakistani people are loving people. They are hospitable people. But sometimes, because the majority is uneducated, and that little educated class misinterprets what has America been doing to Muslims around the world, and that creates hatred and other things. The Americans should learn that they can use this nation as a source of spreading this interfaith. Once they create interaction, that is lacking.
My name is the Reverend Dr. Richard L. Ham. I served for 10 years as head of my denomination. During the course of that time, we had the experience of 9/11. And the Islamic Society of North America is located in the same metropolitan area that our denominational headquarters is in, where my office was at the time. And I realized that I had never really reached out to this Islamic organization, and it impressed upon me in a fresh way that there are a lot of Muslims in the United States. Many of them live almost invisibly to Protestants like myself, especially those of us in the Midwest. So when this opportunity came along, I felt a real sense of call to begin to do this interfaith work of developing relationships, and began feeling that This is a real key to world peace, to come to know one another, to trust each other, to recognize one another as friends and brothers and sisters in faith, even if our individual doctrines and so forth are somewhat different. There's a lot of really smart people in Pakistan, some of whom are really well educated. These are people who we need to know and with whom we need to partner and whom we need to take into account as we think about our foreign policy as a nation, as we think about how we do evangelism as a church, and how we do our mission work.
I am Salada Kadima, Executive Director of Payman Trust. Payman works across Pakistan on different issues, particularly focusing on peace building, conflict transformation, good governance and democracy. We are working with youth and women. These are the mothers of the boys who were detained by the military after the SWAT military operation was over. And these are the potential ones that can, be accessed and taken into the folds by the extremist groups. It is the mother who actually noticed the first sign in her son or even in her other male relatives. So if the mother start asking question, why you have come late, from where you have brought this mobile which is worth thousands of rupees and which they cannot afford. Forums like these, the groups like these here which is holding this dialogue can at least support us. At least we would like to share this with the rest of the world. This is the model that we have adopted. We cannot stop the extremism to commit a suicidal attack, but at least we can prevent more people becoming suicidal, and this is the time for it. This is the time that we need to work at all levels, because alone Musarat, alone a civil society organization cannot do it. It has to be actually both the government and the civil society along with the support of the international community. Only then we will be able to address this menace of extremism. Pakistanis by and large are very peace loving people, very moderate. We have become hostage to very few extremist elements in this society, and it is because of that fear of the unknown, that fear of that group, that the majority of the people remain silent even if the blood is shedding every day. So please treat us like human beings. Humanize this whole war on terror and this extremist phenomena.
My name is Ali Tariq. I am serving as consultant in Iqbal International Institute for Research and Dialogue, which is part of International Islamic University, Islamabad. Really, we are in a great need of patching up the gaps right now. The public opinion is extremely different from our aristocratic opinion or our political opinion. Right now, we are really in the need of interacting with each other on a grassroots level, so that the people, the masses could meet with the masses. Right now, I think that the upper class is meeting with the upper class, and sorry to say, none of them is representing the masses, nor the Pakistani upper class, nor the American upper class. So we are really in the need of engaging the lower class, the grassroots level people, so that they could understand each other. Everyone has his own fancies about the other. Everyone has his own misconceptions about the other. Pakistanis at their part, they have some specific misconceptions. Americans at their part, they have some specific misconceptions. So we really need to interact with each other, to hold such type of seminars, such type of conferences, give the opportunity of the people to meet with the people. And let's not discuss the political elements in it, let's not discuss the higher, you can say, state policies in it. Let's discuss the grassroots level issues and try to address them, try to resolve them, try to create a atmosphere, environment of harmony, peace, bearing each other with extreme respect, dignity, honor. And I think this was the main motto of this conference, and I really found it very beneficial in this regard.
I'm Melody Fox Ahmed, and I am so thrilled to be here in Pakistan with Intersections International. I think my being here so far seems to be the highlight of my career. I come from a multi-faith, multicultural background. I have Jewish, Christian, and Muslim family. I myself became Muslim. My husband is Pakistani, so when I talked to Intersections about being part of this delegation, I just said, wow, this is perfect. My professional life and my personal life both kind of have a confluence in Pakistan, and it's such a critical point in history for the relationship of Pakistan and the United States. Pakistan is at a point where the development of its identity as an Islamic nation has never been more important to world affairs. So we're here at really a historic moment. LUMS is the Lahore University of Management and Sciences. It's a top Pakistani university, and I've been really struck by being here by how American it could be. There are the most stylish, good-looking students walking around in their gorgeous Pakistani clothes, but also completely Western clothes, jeans, t-shirts, and then there's students in traditional Islamic garb. So it's a really cool mixture of Pakistani society in a nutshell. It's incredibly diverse. And if you ask the average American student in the Midwest what they thought about a Pakistani university, this is not what they would see. These are the ones who are going to be shaping the relationship with America in the years to come. And if we can change the narrative now, if we can make these connections now, that's where the change is going to come. And historically, if you look at so many different social movements, civil rights, environmentalism, equal access, LGBTQ rights, they start on colleges and universities. It's the hotbed of change. Vietnam War, for example. This is where ideas are fomented, leaders are created, and we have an opportunity to come into fertile ground and really change the narrative of US-Pakistan relations. We need to bring these stories that Pakistan is ordinary, it's not in other society, back to the US to raise awareness of that as well.
My name is Junaid Ahmed. I teach here at the Lahore University of Management Sciences, the International Islamic University, Lahore University of Management Sciences, and Intersections International. We have been trying to get together a group of Americans and Pakistanis, faith-based organizations, leaders and activists in their community who are interested in getting together with their counterparts from each country and working on concrete issues of peace and justice. Today, we deepen that discussion by having engagement between students and the delegates, most of whom are on the same page, discussing constructively what it will take to both improve the situations in their individual societies, as well as the larger relationship between Pakistan and the United States, and for the plight of humanity.
So we should increase the education of women, increase the probability of them attaining higher level education or entering occupations that earn more and stuff like that. So that's where we should begin and focus, because maybe that's where the problem is.
First of all, we need to educate the masses and make sure they have access to proper employment opportunities, because this all is a resultant effect of a lot of frustration economically and both on social levels, which results.
One of the core purposes of this gathering is to dispel these simplistic type of stereotypes of this country and to give Americans a richer understanding of who Pakistanis are, that they are not all born anti-American, that in fact many of them love Americans and love to engage ordinary Americans and treat them as their sisters and brothers, but may have some differences with the policies both of the US government as well as their own government in what's going on over the past few years. What can each state do for the other and what can't it do? Rather than looking at what can the people do together to bring about positive social change in both societies.
My name is Javidbhai. I am in Pakistan because I heard about this group of people and religious leaders coming to Pakistan, and their mission was to bridge the gap between Americans and Pakistani Muslims. And I thought that maybe I could make a difference. As a religious leader and as a scholar and a student, I believe that the teachings of Islam, if we truly understand them, it demands us that we build these bridges. And it demands us that we build bridges of trade, bridges of tolerance, and cohabitation, And it's a message that has been completely lost through either through violence, for political reasons, and for many different reasons. I think what this group needs is a catalyst to catapult them so that they can bring this message, not just cause ripples. We want to cause a tsunami. I think it's important to break these barriers that we've set up ourselves. Our society has set them up, or maybe media has set them up. But by just interacting with each other, these barriers will come down. That's why one of the things that I wish to do is have Muslims, Christians, it could be a Jew, it could be anybody, it could be a Hindu, community members. We bring them together in business because that's a common ground where the community owns the businesses that we all need. So the grocery stores, the community owns, the gas stations, the community owns. So everybody will interact with each other because of mutual interest. I recall the story of a king who he ordered everybody to put a glass of milk into a pool that he had. And he goes, tomorrow morning I'll check it. In the morning when he went to check, it was full of water. So he called everybody back and he says, what happened? They said that, well, we thought the other one was going to do it. So we thought, what if I put a glass of water inside, who cares? So I think that we have a group of people here who are actually going to take a glass of milk and pour it into that pool. And people who want to make a difference. And they're not just going to put a glass of water inside.
Mumtaz Ahmad, who is one of the hosts of this gathering, said in a presentation that he made that Islam has three things at its core. God is one, the people are one, and social justice. Subsequently, I was asked, well, what are the basic core tenets of Christianity? And I responded, God is one, the people are one, and social justice. And so if Muslims and Christians and Jews can unite around those core principles, and if we can be hospitable to one another, then we have so much to learn from the other, and together we can move forward in greater peace and harmony.
We're glad you've been with us for this special edition of Sanctuary, Building Bridges Through Faith with Pakistan. Your thoughts and reactions to issues and ideas at the intersection of life and faith are important to us, and we want to hear from you. Email us at gcbm@ameritech.net. Visit our website at gcbm.org, and write to us at Sanctuary in care of the Greater Chicago Broadcast Ministries, 77 West Washington Street, Chicago, 60602. That's Sanctuary, the Greater Chicago Broadcast Ministries, 77 West Washington, Chicago, 60602. I'm Lydia Talbot. Thanks for keeping faith with us today on Sanctuary. May peace be with you.
Thank you.